True.
All right. Hi there and welcome. Welcome to Common Ground with Corrine. This is Alex Piland with me today. One of the reasons I started Common Ground was to create a space where people with different perspectives could talk respectfully and remind people that disagreement doesn't have to equal hate. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
This channel isn't about party talking points or trying to win arguments. It's about honest conversations, real questions, and proving people with different viewpoints can sit at the same table. And
Absolutely.
we're at my house today, and Alex came over and sat at my kitchen table.
Here we are.
In a world that constantly pushes division, Common Ground is about slowing down, listening, right? We got to listen first.
Yes.
Asking questions and having respectful conversations even when we disagree. Because the goal isn't always agreement. The goal is understanding. And even when we don't understand the other side, because we're going to have that, we can still have a conversation with respect and not hatred. So today, again, I'm joined with Alex Piland. Alex was a mayoral candidate for mayor in Rio Rancho in this past March 2026. I was also a candidate in the general.
Right.
You won and went on to the runoff election.
Absolutely.
So I thought our experiences would be a good conversation to have.
I agree.
But before we get into politics and campaigning, I think it's important to share what we have in common, because I think we forget that.
Yes.
That we do have things in common.
Yes.
So let's just start really generally. We're human beings. We are women.
We are.
We're educators.
Former educators.
Yes,
I'm retired,
former educators.
but you never leave that, right?
You don't.
Yeah.
You never leave it. I'm sure we've had loss in our lives.
Yes.
And I believe we both care deeply for Rio Rancho.
Yes.
And I believe you love America.
Yes.
We have a lot in common.
We have a lot in common. I love our country. I love our people.
Yeah.
I love the citizenry in our city. Yes.
Yeah, and we have that in common. And sometimes when I'm talking with people, sometimes I have to just let go of the conversation for a while where we disagree and go back to think about our commonality.
Absolutely.
That's what we have to do. And we both know what it's like to step into local politics, campaign, and hear directly from the residents.
Absolutely.
So Alex, thank you for being here today. We had a great conversation during the runoff election. So I'm glad you're back and wanted to be part of this conversation.
Absolutely.
Truly. I think we can teach a lot of people some things.
At the very least, they'll get a glimpse into what it's like to run for office.
Exactly. Maybe encourage people to do that, right?
Let's hope.
Let's hope. So before we begin, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience in case maybe this is their first time getting to know you?
So my name is Alexandria Piland. Everybody calls me Alex. I ran for mayor twice this spring, and I've lived in Rio Rancho for 30 years. I'm a single mom, happily divorced, and a former teacher. I taught for 25 years at Central New Mexico Community College. The discipline was English, developmental English, and I consider myself a community activist.
Well, thank you. That's awesome. So let's just jump into it. People may not know, and I think we talked a little bit about this before we started recording. When did you decide to run for mayor?
Goodness. So a little bit of a backstory here is I had been looking for a candidate for months, almost a year, to run for mayor. We thought we had someone. He said yes. And then he changed his mind. And then we found somebody else. And then we said, call this other person. And he changed his mind again and said, yes, I'm going to run. So the new person we found has been redirected. And we heard maybe 2.5 weeks before it was time to register that the person whom we thought was going to run had changed his mind again. And so let's
just stop there.
Okay.
Before we go on, shall we tell them our party affiliation?
Sure.
So we can tell them that.
Yes.
Okay. So
I am a proud Democrat.
And I am a Christian conservative. I've aligned myself with the Republican Party for my whole entire life until 2025. I am now a DTS, but I'm still a Christian conservative. If I had to go back, if I had to choose, I'd have to choose Republican. So we are on different spectrums of the political, just for the audience to know that we can sit down. So so what you were saying about finding a candidate, that's what we do on the other side. We try to find candidates. It's the same. We're common.
It's really difficult to find people to run. Yeah. Why is that, Corrine? It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So then you had some candidates and it didn't work out. And then what happened?
I got calluses from dialing my phone. Actually, I was using audio dial, so maybe that's not true. But I called and called and called, and I tried to find candidates, and I sat down with my soon-to-be campaign manager and social media director at Golden Hour Campaign Management, and I said, I've been shaking the bushes. I've been calling everybody I know. I can't find anybody. And they said, and I put out what it is we wanted, right? And a candidate, I listed all those things, and they said, that's you. You have to run. And I went, ugh. because I've been retired for 5 years now. I have a great life.
Yeah.
You know, I have family here. I spend a lot of time with my parents, and my son is here, and I travel, and, you know, I'm involved with my political party, with Democratic Party of Sandoval County. And I'm really, really happy. Yeah. You know, and so, you know, you work all your life to get to this point. Yeah. And then to throw in all of this, and I knew how much work it was. Yeah. And I knew that, should I win, that it would be a lot of work, to do it right. Yes. Yes. To be, you would, and I knew that I would have to be a public face should I win. And so that is, that changes everything. That's a 180 from how I've been living.
And let me tell you, we have that in common.
Yes.
Because I have been at home for 27 years, homeschooling my children. I retired from teaching. Right. I only worked 5 years, but I wanted to stay home. So I've had a really nice life too. Right. I can go visit my grandkids. Right. I mean, I couldn't even imagine thinking, I don't know if you were like this, going to work 8 to 5.
Yes.
I mean, who wants to do that?
And one of the questions at the forum you attended was, are you available, you know, basically 24/7, right? And, you know, I am, because, you know, my parents are adults, my son's an adult, I'm single, so I was. And you answered honestly. Right. And that's what it was.
Oh, yes. And I got attacked by my own people. You know, I'm not available 24/7. I just can't be. My priority is my family. I still have 2 kids at home. I got my husband. Right. You know, and realistically, come on. Realistically, getting called 24/7 on the job, I don't believe they do that for a heartbeat. Well, they may do that for the developers and stuff.
Right. I don't know, but you know.
Yeah. So so when I found that I didn't really care for any of the candidates that were coming, I didn't know you were running until the last minute either.
Nobody did.
No, me neither. I didn't either. Me and my husband actually decided on Saturday before filing day.
I decided the Thursday before.
Yeah, for the same reason. Yeah. Right? Because nobody was talking about the lawsuit. Nobody was wanting to have a conversation. Nobody was no change. Everybody was, the same. I thought, I'm doing all this work with the lawsuit. I have all this information. I know how to fix part of it. And they're not even talking about it. Right. And I thought, all of this work, what a waste. Right. And that's when I decided at the last minute, but I had the same concerns. Like, who wants to go back to work? Right. So that's interesting that we also have that in common.
But had I won, I would have stepped up.
Absolutely.
You know, because I'm going to do the best job I can no matter what I do. And I, you know, our races bear that out. Yeah. Right. We worked hard.
Yeah. We were willing to go back to work. I was willing to go back to work. I was.
To serve our community. Yeah. And that's what it was about for, I believe, both of us. Yes. It was about serving our community and moving things forward, because the status quo is not working for everybody. And I stand by that. I stand by everything I said during
me too as well. Campaign. And I think that's something we agree on.
Yes.
But we're going to get more into that later. So we do have that in common, that we saw some things and there was nobody there and we stepped up.
Right.
So we're just go-getters.
Right?
We're just go-getters.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next question is, what were some of the biggest things you learned about Rio Rancho residents while you were campaigning and going door to door? Because I know you went door to door. I went door to door. I don't know what the other the candidates did, but I would go sometimes and knock on the door and I'd see your flyers there.
Oh, yay.
So I know you. So what are some of the biggest things you learned about Rio Rancho residents?
So what did I learn about Rio Rancho residents? That most of them don't like to answer the door.
Yep.
Most of them don't know how their city council and how their city government operates.
Yes.
They don't know, for example, that the mayor has very limited authority, that the authority really lies with the council.
Yes.
And the city manager and the city attorney. Okay. So that was interesting that people didn't know that. And so that was eye-opening. The commonality that I had with most of the people I spoke with, and I spoke with Democrats only. Okay. I focused on people I knew who were going to support me because, the lie that the city government tells everybody is that this is a nonpartisan race.
Yes.
It's a lie. It is very partisan. Okay. And so I pushed that to the front because that was one of the things I said when I talked to people. I'm a Democrat. Whether, you are or not. I mean, I spoke with mostly Democrats, but there were some I did who were not. Mm-hmm. That was something I pushed to the front because I wanted to make sure everybody knew this is partisan. Don't lie to us anymore about that. Okay.
Yeah. And that's interesting because I tried to get away with that. I tried to get away with try to do away with the partisanship label because I know how divisive that is. And this is actually a nonpartisan on paper. On the ballot, because we don't have our party designation on the ballot. That's why. And I even did some research as to why it is that way. And it's so that we could focus on local stuff. And I really saw that when I was walking, people wanted to focus on national stuff. Did you find that as well?
I didn't have to discuss national policies with people because, like I said, I focused on Democrats. But I did have one house in particular. I went to this one house and this man answered, but I was looking for his wife, who was a registered Democrat. She is an immigrant. They had family who were here on student visas, and he wanted to talk about immigration with me and tell me that ICE wasn't picking up people who were here legally, and his people were here legally, his family. He said, "Oh no, they are." So I went home and printed out some stuff and sent it to him. Never heard from him again, but
yeah,
so
he wanted to talk about national stuff,
but he wasn't. That he was a Republican. Yeah. So he wanted to talk to me about national issues. The Democrats I spoke with, and when I told them I was a Democrat, they were like, "Oh, okay, great." That's all they needed to hear, to know that our values were the same. And that was really important to the people I spoke with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about a lot of local issues. We talked about a lot of, the fact that I don't know what it is today. It's been almost 2 months, 6 weeks. But when I was running for the runoff, we had a 15% deficit with police. 15%. So one of the crowning jewels in Rio Rancho is our police department.
Yeah.
They should be fully staffed.
Yes, I agree. We agree.
Right? They should be fully staffed. And you know what? They are great people.
Yes.
When I went to Coffee with a Cop, which everybody should go to Coffee with a Cop because they're awesome. But one of the things I realized was, and I kind of knew it because my ex-husband was a firefighter, or he's retired too. But so police and fire are very closely aligned.
Yes.
So one of the things that I realized was these police officers live in our community. They know people. They know our neighbors. When they, when I see them drive down, I wave at them.
Yeah.
And they said people don't do that other places. But because there's that connection with the police, because they live down the street, I see them at this shop when I go there. I don't know, how long have you lived in Rio Rancho?
17 years.
Okay. So I used to work out with these guys when I went to the gym. I used to teach group fitness forever.
And they do a lot of community outreach.
They do a lot of community outreach.
They did the Citizens Academy that just finished. My son went to that.
They're fabulous people. They work hard and they want the best. Do they make mistakes? Yes. Everybody
makes mistakes.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
However, they're good people. They work hard and they want to save community for us. So why aren't they staffed and why aren't they paid with the same as the people in our community? The city's going to tell you, oh, they have parity, but only to that 5-year mark, and then they start to bounce out. I don't want them to leave once they're experienced.
Right.
And they're living in our community and our community's safe and they have relationships. Their kids are in sports with us. we work with their spouses, and
Did you see that last report that negotiations, when they were having negotiations, and a gentleman came out that he was his first time negotiating for the union for the police, and he had an article in the Rio Rancho Observer, and he said the city was horrible to them.
Yeah. Oh,
the
absolutely.
city was absolutely horrible to, and we know who those people are, right? Let's not beat around the bush, because I was very vocal in my campaign about I would let go of Matt Geisel and Peter Wells, because I know too much. I know some of the things that these guys are doing are not ethical at all.
So this is where I disagree with the tactic. Okay. And let me just say this about that. You are not going in as a newly elected person. You are not going to do well if you go in with, I'm going to get rid of these people. You have to go in and see the lay of the land. Maybe there's stuff we don't know. Maybe we need to find out. Maybe we need to investigate and then make a decision. And maybe that decision is to let people go. But until you're in, I don't think that's something you can.
But for me, that was not part, that everybody has a strategy.
Right.
And on my side, you don't know what I'm hearing on my side.
Yes.
My side is we all know they need to go.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So I was trying to appeal to that base and the city employees. I had talked to so many city employees who said,
see, now I talked to city employees all over the place in multiple departments, and I heard that pretty much they were happy. There are a few people whom I spoke with who are like, we're micromanaged, which is annoying, but
yes,
but at least you're managed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, you got to know both sides before you get in there. I didn't know both sides of that. So, you have different information.
And that's the whole strategy. The whole, everybody, what people don't understand is that we have our own strategy. You went to just Democrats. I actually courted DTSs, right? Because we have so many DTSs right now. It's like crazy. So I courted DTSs because Paul Weimer was probably going to get the Republican vote. I mean, I did a little bit of them in the beginning, but at the end, I focused on the DTSs to get them out because I know they're frustrated just like I'm frustrated.
Right.
So I wanted to connect with them.
I have a question for you. It's a non sequitur, but did Paul call you after the first race and thank you for running?
No. And I didn't call him.
Okay, so and that's because it wasn't over.
Maybe it was just a general thanks to all the candidates on the Facebook.
Yeah, because I just wondered, because I called everybody individually. I tried to get through and said, thank you for running. And it was interesting when I spoke with Michael Meek, he said, well, we kind of knew it was going to be that way. And I went, oh, okay. Which was news to me.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's some stuff from my side, right, that I have in the book that's going to just really, I think, throw people off. I
can't wait to read your book.
Really, it's going to be interesting because, I have friends who are in the establishment here in Rio Rancho. And I knew there's some stuff that happened before that we all knew it. Well, when you come out and you endorse somebody, what did we expect?
Right.
Even Michael Meek knew that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to hold that for just a second.
Okay.
But the strategy is different. So for me, when I would go talk to people right away, they wanted to talk about national stuff. And I think because my cards were red, I love red. I love the color red. I just do. It has really nothing to do with the Republican. I just like the color red and the contrast. So people associated that with me as a Republican. And I was walking up here in Enchanted Hills, and this one lady looked at my card, and then she looked at me and she goes, wow, we need to keep ice. We need ice in this city. And I'm just like, I don't want to talk about that.
Right.
I don't want to talk about that. So I said, well, I agree that if anybody's breaking the law, whether it's ICE, whether it's a resident, there's consequences, and everybody needs to be held accountable to the law. And then I turned the conversation to water and to local stuff.
Right.
But it just seemed like we're so caught up in the national. It's really hard. They didn't even know they had water rate increases.
Yeah.
They have and I came back surprised at the same as you did. They didn't know a whole lot about how it works. I had a lot of people, there's an election?
Yeah.
Did you get that too?
Yes, I got that a lot. People were not aware there was an election.
Yes.
And then that was another struggle we had to have for the runoff. But that I personally believe that that's a partisan issue and that that's by design. They want to keep the voter turnout low.
Yes.
And I believe that had this...
Wait, the partisan, or you mean a establishment issue, city hall issue?
I think it's a partisan issue. I think it's a Republican issue. And to be clear, City Hall is run by Republicans.
Well, I was just thinking that same thing. Yeah.
I mean, they're all Republican.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know. Is it Peter Wells? Didn't he work for Martin Heinrich?
I don't know about Peter Wells and his Vita, but I do know that the city council who makes the decisions, they're Republicans.
4 of them are Republicans and 2 Democrats. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well.
So yeah, you're right. Why aren't these Republicans? See, this is my issue with the Republican Party, right? We're all about informing and keeping people
if you really want more people to vote, and I know we've had a discussion about this, you move the election to November. And you said, no, it doesn't turn everybody out, right? Would you repeat your argument for everybody?
That there's some research that the voting down the ballot, people don't vote down the ballot. And there's research to also suggest that they go there just for the election or the governorship, and they don't vote down the ballot. So then it doesn't affect only. Right, and then so then it does affect us. I think the only way to combat that is we need more education. I mean, the city didn't put out the candidate handbook till December 5th. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
When Paul Weimer was already with his signs, was already with his endorsement. And I think it was on December 3rd, I wrote an article for the Rio Rancho Observer, and I said, we have filing day in less than a month, and the city hasn't even put up the candidate handbook. That's why we don't get candidates. Well, nobody knows.
Well, not just that, but this was her first election, our city clerk, and bless her, this was a lot of work. This is a lot of work for a little city like Rio Rancho, and it cost us, and this was something else I talked about, $500,000 each election. So we just spent $1 million that could have gone to do, I don't know, a third of a road, but it would have done something, right? And we put it into this election where we had an abysmal turnout, even with the increase for the runoff, which was unheard of, right?
Yeah,
So that was us doing our part, getting the word out, right? Yeah. But so the turnout's still low. It costs a lot of money. We could fix all of that if we had the elections in November. And yes,
or we could even fix it better. We don't need a runoff because it's not mandated by the state.
Okay.
We can just do a winner take all. And I'm arguing with people like, well, no, we can't do that. I'm like, why not? Every other race is a winner take all. What makes this race any different?
Because it's supposed to be nonpartisan.
But it's not, right? It's just not.
It's not.
Right. So I think there's other ways that we can cut costs instead of giving up voter ID that we voted for in 2012.
So
see, and that was my issue. That was my issue, right? It shouldn't be 6 people deciding. If they want to take it to the voters and say, okay, you voted for it in 2012 overwhelmingly. Let's vote on it again and see where the people are then. I don't agree with anybody usurping what the voters say. I just don't agree with that at all.
But I'm just going to tell you this about that. The voter ID is absurd in the city of Rio Rancho, and you know this. And I had people go and vote with their Costco card.
Correct. You did do that.
And then when I went to vote with my passport ID, I was questioned. I'm like, it's right there. Well, do you have this? Do you have that? I'm like, no, I don't have this.
That's crazy.
I have a federal ID, and I'm getting flack about it. But the people with the Costco card just went in and
see, there's some issues we got to work out, and I think you've got a valid point. Right. I think I have a valid point, and everybody has a valid point. I'm interviewing the deputy. Sandoval deputy clerk tomorrow.
Joey Dominguez. He's wonderful. He's a hard worker.
He sent me an article where there was a lady in Rio Rancho convicted of voter fraud. So voter fraud does happen.
So one.
I understand
out of
that.
How many?
I understand that.
Okay.
But we shouldn't have any.
Okay.
We shouldn't have any.
One.
That's okay.
And what was the fraud? And what was her party affiliation?
Well, I will tell. Oh, I don't know, but I'll tell you.
I'm going to watch tomorrow. We don't.
No. I'm not going to record it, and I'm going to have to upload it.
Okay.
So I probably won't get on there today, but it's just interesting because we don't know the process. We don't know how they clean up the voter rolls, and so my side attack. They're not doing it. So that's what I'm going there to educate, not to debate, but he's the one that sent me that article. Right.
So we have. So the Democratic Party of Sandoval County has 3 meetings a month, and we have guest speakers at 2 of the meetings a month. And we have had our county clerk come and talk to us, and our county deputy clerk come and talk to us. We have candidates for Secretary of State come and talk to us, and they educate us and let us know what the process is.
Yeah.
So if the other side, whatever it is, Republican, DTS, Green, whatever, wants to have them come, they'll come speak, but they have to be treated respectfully.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and so I think that's just all it is.
And that's what this is. You know, I kind of want to just get away from the parties and we're normal residents. I asked him and he offered, and I'm so excited to be able to learn.
You're going to learn a lot of stuff.
You know, and ask my questions that a lot of people maybe on the other side or whatever have questions. And that's what this is about. Right. And so I'm excited to get that done.
You know what we need to start doing? It just occurs to me. It's not the other side. It's another side.
Another side. Right? There you go. Another side.
Another side.
Right. Because we need to have these conversations. And I think it's so important. Yes. But I think we're the same. You know, we kind of had the same experiences on the campaign trail.
Absolutely.
And we are going to talk about in my book, I have a chapter called the Nonpartisan Illusion.
Yes.
Because I thought, you know, as a DTS, I could try to move away from that so we can focus.
You can't be competitive. You cannot be competitive and run for office. And, you know,
So this is the next thing I have. One thing I think people underestimate is how difficult it is to run for office, no matter what side you're on. I mean, it was hard for me. It was hard for you. I'm sure Paul Weimer had some challenges.
I'm sure.
Putting yourself out there opens you up to criticism, assumptions, pressures. And what I have found on my own side is just the compromising of values. So what is it that you learned that made it difficult for you that people may not understand about campaigning?
So there were a lot of things that made it difficult, right? So first of all, you know, I went to the forum and people, I feel I was set up. Everybody knew what my answer was going to be, and there was no discussion about the issue of ICE.
Was that the question where they just wanted a yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So there was no discussion. And so, you know, it was preordained that either my choice was at that point to lie or to stand by my values.
Yeah.
Well, I was born and raised in Chicago, and I'm a straight shooter, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So my answer is yes, I support. It was about sanctuary cities. Yes, I support sanctuary cities. Do you support sanctuary city in Rio Rancho? Yes, I support it. Do I have the authority to do it? No.
Yeah.
But these are my values, and I support this, and I can tell you why, but I was not given that opportunity. And so that was the social issue, not the administrative issue, not that I could have had anything to do with this mayor. That was the issue that followed me throughout the campaign. And you know what? I embrace it because that's my value and I stand by it, and I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to get elected. I'm not going to sugarcoat things to get elected. And I'm not going to soft shoot anything. I'm going to tell you how it is. And so it was surprising that even now, I was told just a couple days ago, well, that's why you lost. So from someone on my side, supposedly. Okay. So no. So standing by my values was really important to me, but I got criticism from both sides about it, and I don't care. Okay. Yeah. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, people who didn't even know me.
So the hardship was that you don't feel, know that you were treated fairly in that debate and with that one question.
Not just,
Right, fair. Don't we want free and fair elections?
Yes, it wasn't fair. It was not equitable.
This is what I'm trying to teach people, that we're all about free and fair elections with voter ID or whatever, but there's so much more to elections, and they're not free and fair elections, especially when you're campaigning.
And the question was posed from the Rio Rancho Chamber, which is historically right-leaning, right? Historically speaking. Yeah. So, for many reasons, which we won't get into, but so it was, to me, it was a setup. And, you know, the chair of the chamber has denied that and said, no, it was fair. It was equitable, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah, the next question he asked about just to have a yes and a no, and here I am trying to follow the rules.
Right.
You're trying to follow the rules.
Exactly.
Of the data center question.
Yeah.
My husband runs the biggest data center in Albuquerque. So I know about the data center. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Yes. But then you had another candidate said yes, and blah, 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 blah. They didn't stop him. They didn't do anything. And so you're right. It wasn't fair because that really angered me.
Right.
If it's a yes and no, then you better make sure everybody just answers yes or no. See, because that's where I didn't see the fairness part of it.
I agree with you. And I'll tell you something else. I follow the rules.
Yes, I do too.
So
that's your water.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
So that was one of the issues.
Yeah. So it's hard to, and so when you feel like they're not being fair with you.
Right. Another, and I guess this is along the same vein, people who didn't know me were like nasty. And I was, they would feel free to send me messages, to DM me in social media. My campaign staff took care of most of that. So I didn't see a lot of it, but sometimes they would slip through to my personal stuff, and I would see people being just nasty mean. And, my whole issue as I saw it for this campaign, and I think it was yours too. I think we were perfectly aligned on this one, was transparency and inclusion with the people in the city.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to stop you there before we get to the transparency, but I don't think people realize, like you were hitting on, how mean people are.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let me tell you, I was walking in Corrales Heights, and the roads are horrible there.
Yes.
I mean,
come in my neighborhood. I live in Paul Weimer's district. Come down my street. It's
and then they just paid Nativitas over here for $664,000 for 15 houses, and I'm just like, what?
Okay.
So anyway, let me write a Nativitas on there.
Okay.
I was on Corrales, and I went up to this man's house, and we're talking, and then these dogs come from nowhere, and they start following me. And I just said, okay, well, I'm just going to walk in, leave me alone.
Right.
I get a text, and this lady says, leave your trash off my porch. I don't think she had a soliciting sign, left my door hanger. And then here you are running for mayor with your dog off a leash.
It wasn't even your dog.
It wasn't even my dog.
Oh, how funny.
And she was so nasty. And then she left me a voicemail.
Yeah.
I still have it. But people don't realize that we, from both sides, get harassed for just, now I know why people don't want to run. Right. You have to have some thick skin.
Yes, you do.
And you know what? I even texted her back. I said, you know what? You should have I texted her back, and she goes, I'm going to post this all over social media. And I said, oh no, you should have gotten one where I fell in the crack. Because shortly after that, I fell in the crack that was like 5 inches wide. Wow. I said, that's the one you should have gotten, and you should have posted that on Facebook. So, you're supposed to be mayoral, and you're not supposed to be like that. But you know what, Art? That was just nasty in me. And I'm sure you got the same.
I did. But you know what? Mostly it's like you just consider the source and move on. Yeah. And that's part of it. And so this is another reason why people don't want to run. Not to mention, it is an incredible amount of work. I would wake up early, go to bed late. I would be at multiple events in a day. I was always moving. My campaign staff had me reaching. I went to Spanish spelling bee, which was fabulous. I saw my friend's son spell in Spanish. Oh. It's not his first language. It was incredibly impressive. I went to all kinds of stuff that was just really wonderful to go to, where I met people and talked to people that I would never have met before. And I learned stuff I would never have met before. That's the upside. But at the end of the day, I'm 64 years old.
Yeah, I'm 58.
I would go home and I would be like a vegetable on the couch for, I'd get home at 9 o'clock and I'd be like, oh, did I eat dinner? Well, I wound up gaining all kinds of weight. I had all I'm trying to lose it, but it was just,
and I don't think people understand that aspect. And if you don't have the money to have a staff, I didn't have that. So I was literally doing everything myself. I had a wonderful man help me do my walk lists, right? Because you had walk lists.
Yes.
People don't understand that part. You get your strategy, and then you get walk lists. And so I had a gentleman help me do the walk list. I had volunteers walk with me, but I did everything by myself. And it is just like nonstop.
Which is why it's very, very difficult. I mean, it's a heavier lift if you don't have a party behind you.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
absolutely. But then again, you do have a party, and then you're in a primary, you're against other Republicans, and they attack you from your own party. But that's a whole different show. That's in the book.
Yeah,
that's in the book.
Yeah.
But the pressure to always talk to people, answer the phone calls. I did try to do as many interviews as I could. The only one that I didn't do was the KDSK. With the Rio Rancho Chamber, they used KDSK.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do the KDSK, the 15 minutes?
I did.
The free 15 minutes?
I
did that one too.
And we bought ads on KDSK. And it was interesting. They're lovely people. And I didn't know Bobby Box was still on the air. He is. I mean, like I said, I lived here 30 years.
Yeah.
So, so it was really nice, but it was very interesting because I was referred to as, when the interview with the chamber, I was referred to as a Democrat. And no, not as a Democrat, as a Democrat Party. And I said, no, it's Democratic. Well, as a former English instructor, it's an adverb. It's describing the noun. It's Democratic. Well, when I went back for the second interview for the runoff, I was told, well, I looked it up. I didn't realize it was a slur. And it is. So
who said that?
I can't remember his name. The guy.
Jerry.
No, the disc jockey, the guy who did the interviews. Derek.
I think it's Derek something with a D.
Yeah, but he was a nice man, and he didn't know this. And so, it was interesting, the change from A to B, and how gracious both Star and Mr. D. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Let's call him Derek.
Okay. Derek, I think it is Derek.
Derek. Okay, so Derek and Star were incredibly helpful. And so I have their cards and I'm handing them out. We have candidates already. I'm handing them out to all the candidates going, you got to do this free interview. This is fabulous.
Yeah.
These people are gracious and nice and helpful. So yeah, I did do it. Well,
I did the first one, the 15-minute free at the KDSK radio station. I came out of there even more disgusted with the machine.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do the Rio Rancho Chamber that was in the field that worked with KDSK. I was just done.
Yeah.
I was just done because talk about being set up.
Right.
Anyway, did you know the mayor has a podcast?
Yes.
Mayor Hall had a podcast?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you know he campaigned against you and all of us for his friend on that radio station?
Yes.
That's in my book. But anyway.
Yes, I did. But the podcast was not paid for by the city.
Correct.
Right?
Oh, and I did an improv request for that.
Okay, so, here's
and then
another
they made fun of me for doing that.
I heard about that. But here's the thing. Citizens in our city should be able to call their city councilors and ask a question and not have to IPRA stuff. That's the crazy thing to me.
Let's just get into it, the transparency part. Yep.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So that is nuts. If you have a question about how something happened, how your city is run, pick up the phone, call your city councilor. Your city councilor should be on it. That's why you elect them.
Yes.
They represent you and your views. Their views might align with yours. They might not. But they still owe you
the time of day to talk to them.
The opportunity to hear why they do what they do, and to answer the questions you have about processes throughout the city. That is their job,
and to help you,
And if they don't know the answer, common courtesy. Hey, I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm going to find out who I can refer you to. It's not rocket science. It's not hard.
Do you think, I know that when before I started to run, I was hearing from people all over telling me that their city council never calls them back.
Yeah.
And then I even heard from one lady, Deborah Dabson's District 1 wanted to talk with her. They were going to have a meeting. And then Deborah Dabson calls her back and says, Mayor Hall said, I can't talk to you about this. about this apartment complex going up. Have you heard stories like that?
I did, not about Councillor Dabson, but I did hear some stuff. And I live in District 4, and
I'm sure he does it with everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, let me be very transparent here and tell you, I do not like Greg Hall. And I think anybody, for what it's worth, anyone who thinks that his experience as mayor of Rio Rancho qualifies him to be governor of our state is misinformed. Let's just put it that way. Ill-informed.
I will agree with you on that regard, right? Because we know a little bit more than maybe your average. And I'll agree with you on that. We have the commonality on that regard. But as far as the city councilors, because mayor has done that, and I know that for a fact, not just with Deborah Dabson, but with some other councilors, citizens have been totally shut out of the process.
So, but I want to ask Mayor Hull and Councillor Dabson why it happened. Was there some legal contract being discussed and it wasn't public knowledge? Because that happens sometimes legally, right? So was there something that needed to be kept confidential about that particular issue, or was it just kind of circling the wagons? And so I would want to know that before I say, but on its surface, it's hinky.
I'll give you the information, and maybe if you want to reach out to Deb Dabson, you can do that, because she was supporting, the processes and all this stuff. But we just need to go to our counselors.
Yes.
And they need to be more involved with the people.
One. Right now,
you don't have one. You don't.
No.
Well, you have 60 days.
Yeah.
So you have 60 days to get one.
It's interesting.
Well, all of my friends are saying we already know who it is.
Who is it? Tell me.
This is just an assumption. We don't know, but we know the inside that it'll probably be somebody from the Planning and Zoning Board.
Oh, absolutely. That
you know who I'm talking about?
Yes. I don't remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah, he represents District 4, I believe.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way the machine works.
Absolutely.
That's the way the machine works. And so all my friends on my side are all like, okay, let's take bets. Let's take bets. I said, you know what? We need to tell people to go and put in an application, right? Because then I'm thinking in my brain, once that's made known, maybe we could have all the other people from all the other districts let their city council know, hey, we want this person. That's how it's supposed to work. Is it not?
It is.
And we don't do that here in Rio Rancho at all.
No.
And so that's why I ran, because we need to get back to the people being represented and the people taking responsibility, getting engaged. But when the city makes it hard, it's really hard for the residents.
I mean, I think there's a simple fix too. Why not have town halls regularly in every district?
Yes. Well, they did start that, remember, with the meet and greet.
The meet and greet where you had ice cream and an ice cream social.
To me, I saw it as, this is just campaigning. Did you see it like that?
Yes, I did also. I don't think it's particularly effective. But look, food does very often get people there. But when you introduce something like an ice cream social, you're going to get families, and they're going to meet their city councilor.
It's social. It's not like business. Ask questions. Get your questions answered.
Right.
So we agree on that. We need some more, and maybe we need to come together.
And I think that, you start out with District 1 in January, and you go through, we get through District 6, then you start again at District 1. The mayor should go to everyone. The city councilors should, of course, be there in their own district, but they should also attend some of the neighboring districts. It's not hard. This is your job. Reach out to your constituency, support your constituency, listen to their concerns, put their concerns forward, right?
Yes.
That's your job as city councilor.
And maybe we just need to do it by ourselves without them and invite them to a District 3, I'm in District 3, city council meeting. Come and talk. We've invited Bob Tyler. Let's see if he shows. Right?
I hope he comes. I mean,
no, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. We don't have to wait for the city to do that.
No,
that's what I'm saying. We can do it ourselves.
Yes.
And I think that has more power in it as well. Because I'll tell you, with my Facebook page, Rio Rancho Citizens I
follow it, by the way. When you started it, I started following
that was way in 2025.
Yes.
They were watching. You had people in City Hall watching that page, because I just want to get people educated, because that's where I'm at. And I'm trying to do it without the conservative or Christian spin. Just, these are the facts.
Right.
These are the facts.
And I think it's a service to the community, Corrine.
Yeah.
I really do. I think I've learned a lot off of that page. And so that's something else we agree on.
Absolutely. So we're going to have to try to do some town halls together and get those going, because I don't have any faith, and I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I don't have any faith that Paul Weimer will do that. I don't.
I think we got to give him a chance. Look, he was my opponent. Okay.
Yep.
We both ran good, clean races. And unfortunately he won, but I do care about my community, my city, and I want him to do well. So I am open-minded, and I am willing to give him and all the city councilors the opportunity to serve us well. That's what they deserve. They deserve the opportunity. Some of them have had it for a while and have not stepped up.
Yes.
And, but they still need the opportunity.
And we may have to give them that opportunity, because I don't think they'll create it for themselves, for the residents. I just don't. That's where I'm at. I just don't.
I want to have faith in the system, but right now I'm really focused on getting some good people elected.
Yeah, and I'm focused on getting the word out, because we're gonna have an election in 2 years.
Yeah.
For the other city councils. And do you think this is a good question, a good lead in. Do you think it's good to have multiple people running?
Yes.
So like if there were 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans and 3 DTSs, is that good? Do you think that's good?
Yes.
Okay. Because
it gives voters a choice. People have to work. They have to make sure that their positions and that their track record and their history supports what the people want to see in their representative, in their city councilor. So I think it's great. I've had people, that was something that was surprising. I was all over the city, and I've had people come up to me and talk to me about running in 2 years, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
And I support it. And some of them are going to be really good. And you know what? Some of them are young people, which is very exciting.
Yes.
Because when you get somebody, and being my advanced age, when I say young people, I'm talking about early 40s.
Yeah, yes,
right?
exactly. Okay? Late 30s.
So when you see somebody who's in their 40s talking about running for office to start serving in your city, and you talk to them about their values, and their values align with yours, most of them, not all of them, of course, but most of them, right? Then you, you get excited and you get happy, and you want to see that. So I want the best person to win. I don't want it to be the person with the most money. I want the best person to win. But to be clear, in order to win, you gotta raise money.
You do.
And a lot of it.
Yeah. And sometimes that's easy, and sometimes that's hard.
It depends on what you're keyed into.
Yeah.
And that's what we alluded to before we started recording. We talked about that just for a second. But if you are not supported by the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, you're got a heavy, heavy lift, and you're not going to make it.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah. Because I'm looking at some of the like we talked earlier, the financial records of Paul Weimer and yourself. And yes, the Republican Party gave him $2,700 for some mailers, but the majority of his money, I think it was $97,000 that he raised, was not from, say, candidates in the Republican Party. I think you had a few candidates to give to your campaign.
Yes, I did.
He had none. It is fascinating. All of his money.
Not even Hope, who endorsed him? Wow.
Nope.
I didn't know Greg Hull was so cheap.
Well, if you look at the numbers from his race, apparently he's having some problems raising money. But
I saw that.
But that whole thing, even for Paul Weimer in this race, Republicans, I mean, you had somebody from FRW, but the bulk of his money is not from the Republican Party. Like what you just said, it's interesting, it's fascinating, and I'm going to dive really more into that.
So I'm going to say that those developers, those people who own the development companies are probably Republican in the area, have vested interest in the community, continuing to build as it is, and so they probably donate.
I don't even care if they're Republican. I just think that that just that tells me that why do people give money? Why do people endorse in the first place?
Because they want to see you get elected. That's the bottom line. Hopefully because your values match theirs. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's because they want a quid pro quo after the fact, right? I did this. I donated to you, so now you owe me a favor. So that's the ugly side of it. But and
I will tell you, I have a nonprofit, right? I have started a Flesh versus Spirit Ministries nonprofit, and I have people who give to that. So when they call me, my human nature is to what? I better pick up the phone because they give.
Yeah.
That same type of humanness is in politics. Oh my gosh, Ready Mix donated all this money. I better pick up the phone call. It is a natural thing when people donate.
Right.
Right. And so we have to just kind of understand that as well.
Yes.
But for the majority, I'm just amazed. Truly. I was actually shocked that you had more grassroots people donating to your campaign.
Normal people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked, truly, right? Because they demonize the left, or, we demonize the right. And then I'm sitting here looking at and I'm like, holy smokes.
So I was accused of having, out of Rio Rancho, people who did not live in Rio Rancho donating to my campaign because they thought that I was going to owe favors because someone in Corrales donated to me. Well, it was someone who,
and they did $25.
Yeah. It's like, I've known this person for 10 years.
I know.
And they kicked in some money and, thank you. I'm going to buy mailers or flyers or something. So it was really, really interesting to see. That was a lot of the criticism too. That was, watch what but that's something. So that is something that is leveled against politicians nationally. And so a lot of the arguments that really kind of don't apply to a municipal election were brought in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you just
and I tried our hardest, and I think you tried your hardest too, to say that as a mayor, I can't bring, that is up to the city council, right? So you need to be talking to your city council.
So, and you know what? Something else was, I would hear a lot of criticisms about my opponent, especially for the runoff. People would tell me, oh, but you don't see him doing this and you don't see him doing that. And it's like, well, he's an introvert. I mean, I'm not.
He's not a good speaker.
And I taught for 25 years, right? So what are you going to do?
And I'm loud. I mean, I got the most terrible criticisms when we were at the Rio Rancho Observer.
Uh-huh.
And guess who they came from? Women.
Oh.
Let me tell you, I had one woman, I don't know if you saw that because I did post it. She said, oh, well, you're just a housewife. How can you run a city? I think we can agree that is
it's sexist.
It is such a sexist, horrible remark for somebody to say.
I heard somebody said, oh, she can balance a checkbook, so she thinks that qualifies her for budgets. Having not even looked at some of my other experience.
Well, they were saying that about you.
Education. Yeah.
Oh.
I heard she can balance a checkbook, so she thinks she can run the city. Like, first of all, the mayor doesn't do that.
I know, right?
And the budget is approved by the council, right? And so let's just put that aside. But look at some of my education and my experience before you say that, right? And so I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, I even came out on the next forum at the church that you didn't go to.
Yeah.
And they asked me the same question. Well, what are you qualified? And I said, I'm just a stay-at-home housewife. I have an almost 850 credit score. I've managed rental properties. Nothing's been in foreclosure. We're almost ready to pay off all these houses. No,
nothing.
I'm not qualified to do that.
So, and you just kind of shrug your shoulders and say, it just doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but it's just the meanness, I think, is really what really got to me. And even with people I thought were on my side.
Yeah, that was.
Did you get that too?
Yes.
Did you really?
From a few people. And like I said, I got it after the fact.
Because this is our perception on the other side. Oh, the Democrats have it all together. Oh, the Democrats don't fight. The Democrats don't argue.
I had somebody tell me 2 days ago. Now, this is already 6 weeks in the past. Somebody told me 2 days ago, well, why didn't you call me to tell me you were running? And my response, again, because I'm a straight shooter, is I don't owe you that. I don't owe you anything. right?
Yeah.
And that was somebody supposedly on my side. So there's that, So the Democrats, we're getting it together. We work together, even if we don't always see eye to eye. I don't know if you guys do that. And my impression is,
what is your impression of?
No, you guys are fractured. You guys, especially in New Mexico, are incredibly fractured and fighting against each other, which as a Democrat, I'm like all for it, right? Because makes our job easier. So right on, go for it, and we know what the factions are and we know why there's factions. It's in the news all the time, right? So
interesting. It's interesting because I tell people, yeah, you know what? We're people in the Republican Party and we're going to have disagreements. We can be unified, but it doesn't mean conformity, right? Unity doesn't mean conformity.
Right.
Right. But we have to have a conversation. And this is where our party is really lacking because they don't allow people
right.
To come in and use their gifts and their talents to better the party. It's all about control. And so I'm telling people, they tell me, Democrats, they never do that. And I'm like, they're people. I bet you they do. And so like now, Sam Bregman, and Deb Haaland, right. So we have that because we're humans.
Wait a minute. So I mean, let's just talk about this for just a second because it kind of isn't.
Yeah.
But and keep in mind, I am a Haaland supporter. Have been for years. Have watched her, have known her, have met her multiple times. She's a gracious person. I really like her as a human being. The majority of the party is lined up behind her.
Right. So we know that.
What we see is the guy who's in second place is nipping at her heels. And as we get closer and closer to election day, it's becoming more and more nasty.
Yeah. And on the right too.
And so yeah, exactly. And so what we're doing, and the stuff on the right is crazy. So what we do is we just go, oh, well, that's him trying to make gains. It's a foregone conclusion. Like we were talking in the beginning, we know he's not going to pull this off.
And we know that on our side as well.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So on your side, what I'm seeing,
tell me,
is I'm seeing this crazy guy talk about cutting taxes and not talking about how to replace that money. They talk about us not being qualified. And this is a businessman who's like, I'm going to just wipe out taxes for anybody 65 and over. Duke.
Oh, okay.
The guy from Arizona, the Arizonan, right? Yeah. We know he's not a real New Mexican, right? So he's talking about wiping out taxes, but where's the plan? How are you going to replace? Because I hear that and I go, wait a minute. That means you're going to make cuts to something in the state. Mm-hmm. You have to replace that money. You can't just take that money off the table and say, there you go. No taxes for this whole group. Fix that. Tell me why, because that's just stupid to have that. That's pandering at its worst. Mm. And anybody in the Republican Party who believes that is not doing any other investigation at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I guess the point is that we all have our little disagreements.
Right.
And it's okay to have disagreements. I believe that we can disagree, but there are some things that I always tell people that are just truth, right? Paul Weimer got a lot of development money. That's a truth. But see what happens in the Republican Party. I don't know if it happens in your party. I am now divisive. No, I am now the divisive one because I am bringing to light, hey, she's not following the rules. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
She's not following the rules. So now the Republican Party is like, oh, Corrine's the divisive one. That's partly why I also left the Republican Party.
Right.
I'm a rules con person and I'm going to call anybody out and I don't care if you're not Republican.
Well, and keep in mind that there's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. Okay. So there's
yes.
You have to consider those things. Those aren't things that the normal average citizen considers. And so we have to keep that in mind that, what was the intent behind this law and is it being followed? That's very important.
Oh, yes.
And I'm just speaking in generality.
Oh, no, I've already had this conversation with my people. I said it's under the conflict of interest.
Right.
Right. There's a spirit we're teachers.
Right.
I mean, we all know that, right? And so it's fascinating, but we're almost out of time.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I think we could go on for such a long time. Let's see. Let's do this last one. What do you think are some of the biggest concerns Rio Rancho residents are talking about right now after the election and everything that you've learned?
Right now, I think people are still very, very concerned about some of the environmental choices. Mm-hmm. And I know people are still very, very angry about Project Ranger.
We agree on that.
I'm one of them. You're one of them.
I am.
And, I'm hearing excuses from people who made these decisions.
So why are you upset? Let's just get to the nuts and bolts. Why are you upset?
I'm very angry about the process. I'm very angry about how it was shoved down our throats by the county commission. And I'm very angry that the city council has appeared to just get in step and say, well, it's a done deal. The thing that really bothers me about that decision is that when all of this council, regardless of what they say their values are, what they ran on to be elected, when they all get in line, that makes no one culpable. And so when you don't have somebody saying, hey, I know this is going to happen anyway, it's a done deal, because this is what I heard from all of them.
Oh, yes.
It's a done deal, so I'm going to support it. That's stupid, because your constituency is watching you. They're watching you.
Yes.
And they know how you voted on this issue that's incredibly important. And they'll remember that when it's time to reelect you or run against you. So it's not okay to say it's a done deal, I'm going to vote for it, everybody else is voting for it. We were taught that in grammar school. We were taught that in middle school. We were taught that in high school. You don't follow the crowd. You do what you believe and what you were taught is right. So if you don't believe that that's a good decision for the community, then you don't support it. And if you do that and your excuse is something like, oh, well, we need to have some commercial development. We need to have some job development. If those are your excuses, you better look real hard at your decision, because that is not why you people were elected. You were elected to do what's best for the constituency, and that is not best for the constituency.
And I don't think people really understood, because when this was first, when the city council shoved it down our throat and they voted first reading, second reading, done deal, it had already originated at the county commissioners.
Yes.
I don't think people really understood that. And then I heard from Michael Meek that, the city council knew this was coming.
I heard that too.
And the city council,
and they all lied.
And they all said, oh no, we didn't know this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Now, really?
So, I mean, okay, let's take it at face value and say, well, they didn't. They said they didn't know it was coming. Maybe Commissioner Meek lied. Okay. It doesn't matter at this point. He's term limited out. He's gone. All right. And he's not our mayor. So, if the city council and the mayor did not know this was coming, then they were asleep at the wheel. And that's unacceptable.
And they should have said, let's slow it down so that our residents can know what's going on. That would have been the appropriate thing.
They should not have all voted en masse to support it.
And I'll tell you, right before I was in January, before I decided to run, I was actually going through all the votes of the whole year. And I'm going to tell you, I started a spreadsheet, 6-0, 6-0. There is like no...
But that takes the onus off of all of them when they all agree. When they're questioned individually, they can point at everyone else and say, well, it was going to happen anyway, so I just said.
And then there's no sponsorship on the bills. That even takes them out of the completely. And so
this is going on.
Yes.
The lack of sponsorship. Let's focus on that for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Lack of sponsorship. It's been like this forever.
Yes.
So it's now precedent.
And why is it precedent?
Because it's been like this forever. I mean, that's it.
Yes.
So because it's been allowed to continue. And so this is the precedent that is set. So you need to have an ordinance to change it back. Do you understand? Because this is precedent. So
it's a culture, because I believe it says in our rules. I mean, it's right there, clear as day, the ordinances and resolutions, the sponsor's name will be on the ordinance and they will present it. That's what it says, not once, but it says it twice.
Okay, but how long has this been going on?
For years.
Okay, so now it's precedent. So this is the vicious cycle we have.
I don't think maybe it's a precedent, but it's a culture and could be changed. I believe it could be changed very quickly. Because who runs the meetings? You know, they've sponsored resolutions before. You know that.
Yes.
There's sponsorships.
Yes, there are. But what I'm saying is that you have these people who are on the council who have accepted this and who have continued doing this. So this is not going to change this way. It's not.
Of course, it's not going to change with the people in there.
Right.
Not even with Weimer.
So
I agree.
And this is what people. Okay, let me take it back. This is what people voted for.
Yes,
because one of the things I kept seeing and kept hearing was, oh, it's going great. Let's keep it going the way it is. So this is what the citizenry has accepted and has voted to continue.
Yep.
So you can point this out all you want, and I applaud you for being a rule follower, because I too am a rule follower. But the fact of the matter is it's not going to make a damn bit of difference. This is what it is. If you want to change it, yes, it's probably a cultural change, could happen, but it's not very likely. Not for a while.
I think you're right. We need to make the rules a little more clear, because I believe in my own party. This is where I'm coming from. They're ambiguous.
Oh, yeah.
The rules don't say that. Oh, it doesn't say I can't do that. That's what I'm getting from my party.
Right.
And you're like, the spirit of the rule is right there.
Okay. So the ambiguity is there. And I've been on rules committees, and they're so awful. They're dull. They're boring. They take forever. People mince words, but they're really, really important.
Yes.
Really important. So in order to change something like that, I think you have to have another rule change on a rules team or whoever it is that's going to do it for the city. And then the council has to all approve it, right? Not all of them, but a majority of the council.
Right.
So who's going to do that, Corrine? Who's going to do that right now?
Well, let me tell you the way it could work.
Okay.
I could go to my counselor. You can go to maybe you'll be the counselor for District 4. and
Could you imagine that? Oh my God.
But you know what? Let's talk about that in just a second.
Okay.
But Deborah Dapson, actually, a constituent came to her, and this constituent of hers wanted to allow more horses on the property to do some rechanging. And then Deborah Dapson got a draft of an ordinance, and Deborah Dapson, in a work session, presented it to the city council. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yes.
Okay.
It can be done.
Well,
she did it.
Good for her.
Good for her. Absolutely right. She did it the right way, the way the rules said, and I bet you Hull and all of them were pissed off at her, because it proved my point that that's the way it's supposed to be done. Constituent goes to the city councilor. Now they can decide if they want to sponsor it or not. That is their right. But she thought it was a good idea. She had them draft the ordinance, because that's what staff is there for.
Right.
Or she could draft it herself.
Right.
There's two options there. And then guess what? Then she presented it. First time I have ever seen a city councilor present an ordinance, an amendment. It can be done. And it could be done that easy. She followed the rules.
That's awesome.
And I went on Nextdoor or wherever, and I applauded her for doing that.
Wonderful.
And then they got mad at me.
Well, and I've known Counselor Dabson for a long time. I'm not surprised. She followed the rules and she did it the right way. I'm not surprised.
And I'm sure if we were to ask her, she probably got pushback. Because this was before.
I don't know if I want to take that leap. I don't know if I believe
I'm going to say that because I know the people there. Okay. Probably more so than you do.
Much more than I do.
Much more than you do, yes. I know the people a little bit more than you do. But I think we have to, we'll just end this, that we have a lot in common.
We do.
And I'm really glad I got a chance to meet you. I know I didn't win, and that wasn't the point of me being in there. That was maybe one, but it was the second, it was not the first. I wanted to win, but I knew that knowing what we know.
It's a heavy lift.
And you knew that for yourself as right? So
I did.
We're not kidding ourselves.
Well, you know what? And we talked about this too. In order to be able to go out there every day and work as we did, we have to believe it.
Yes.
Okay. So you start out knowing it's a heavy lift.
Yes.
Then you get involved and you have your echo chamber feeding you all this information, which is necessary. And you're like, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. But you figure it out close to election day, and you're if you're a realist, a pragmatist, you kind of know, well, maybe I'm not going to be able to do this. But the fact that you did it and that you brought issues to light,
yes,
is always good.
Yeah,
because I saw our now mayor, say, I heard you and I'm ready to get to work. Granted, that is a vague statement, but I want to believe that he heard the issues that both of us brought up about transparency and inclusivity and following the rules. And you more so than me. I wasn't a rules, that wasn't part of my platform, but the transparency most certainly was.
Yes.
So like I was saying earlier, I think we have to give them a chance to do what the constituency is asking for. And if they don't, then we step up. But definitely, and I'll give you something I want to just pitch very quickly. One of the things that happened after my campaign is, after paying everybody, paying off the debt, as I had money left over, and I've chosen to give that money to some 501(c)(3)s. One is Storehouse West, another is Feed Rio Rancho Kids. Those are two organizations that I volunteer for, that I believe in, that really need a lot of help right now. So my issue that I'm working on is food insecurity. And because I ran for office, I met this wonderful woman in Northern Meadows. Her name's Jessie Bennett. She tried that, right?
Yes,
okay. So Jessie Bennett and I are working on trying to get Storehouse to do some shelf-stable food handouts once a month in North Hills and once a month in Northern Meadows. These are areas where there is a huge need. Gesso Garcia, who helped, Garceau, who helped moderate the other thing you and I did together. He's a gig worker, right? And he told me of a woman who had to call an Uber to be taken to the food bank.
Yes.
That infuriates me. So we've got to bring the food to the people who need it, because with gas prices over $4 a gallon, we can't let people be hungry in our community. That's gross. That's sick. And when those of us, you and me, we have so much, we need to make sure that those who have less are also able to eat healthy food. So anyway, so that's one of the things I'm working on, and I'm going to continue working on. I am also going to take the show on the road into the town of Bernalillo, because I believe they need to feed Bernalillo kids. And,
very good.
And so we're going to start that over there. We've been wanting to do that for a long time. So that's something I'm going to be working on. So there have been some really positive things. And one of them is my new friend, Corrine. And I'm so happy to come and sit down and talk with you. And we talked about having coffee. Yeah. We still have to do that. So this was a lot of fun for me. And
I think we can educate a lot of people, because we're still on different sides of the spectrum.
We are.
But we have some commonalities. And I think when we can just respect people.
Right.
Right? Yeah, I'm not the boogeyman. You're not the boogeyman.
No, but I do like to boogie.
And I think this is going to be real insightful for a lot of people. And, and I'm hoping that this channel that I'm starting up can just kind of break some of the polarization that we have today.
Well, especially when it comes to municipal issues.
Exactly.
Right? Because the things that I hear both sides complaining about were things that we have discussed. So
yeah, and I think it's important, but I think we need to have a platform to do that. So I'm so glad you came today.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can have some more conversations, get some of these town halls going.
That'd be great.
And District 4, there's applications for District 4.
There are.
And were you going to be doing an application, do you think?
Somebody came to me and told me that I should, and I'm considering it. But I can't imagine that Mayor Weimer would appoint me.
Why?
Because, all right, it's political. It's completely and totally political. But listen, hold on. This would put this would tie the council, 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans. And as we all know, I'm not someone who would pay off a political favor at the expense of my values. And so what that means for those of you listening out there, what that means is a lot of times when people are appointed, they are told, I'll appoint you, but you need to do what I tell you to do.
You need to toe the line.
And I am not that kind of person. So am I considering it? Yes. Is it likely? No.
But why do you think then, with that, what you just said, why did Hull appoint Clarissa Culbreth?
Well, you're putting me on the spot here, Corrine, but
no, I'm just saying it's not unheard of.
He appointed her because she supported him.
So are you saying then that she compromised? Because she is a Democrat.
Well, I think she's more of a centrist.
Okay.
I do. I think that their values are closely aligned.
Okay, more closely aligned.
More closely aligned than mine and Mr. Weimer's, Mayor Weimer's.
But please, if you have an interest in district, serving your city for District 4, the applications are going to be accepted until I think May 26th. You know,
I think the 29th, but I'm not. Let's say the 26th. So
yeah,
early.
But go and just try the process. Campaigning was fun. It was actually such an honor in our country to just get out and have the opportunity to run
and talk to people.
Yeah,
it was. You know, there were so many absolutely wonderful stories I could tell you, and there were opportunities while I was campaigning that I had to serve people to help them with issues they had in their community or personal issues. And that was wonderful. And those people still have my contact information. And one lady said, keep in touch. I want to know what you're doing. And so it's just, it was really, really nice to meet people. But then again, I am an extrovert. So,
and I think I am too, obviously. Maybe that's why we get
that's it.
We get along, but we just want to say thank you for coming and thank you for running.
Thank you, Corrine.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And you guys have a great day. Until we see each other again, let's go find the commonalities with one another.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.
I think that was awesome.
I do too.